Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Tuesday, January 19th meeting of the Bethany City Council. I'll call the meeting to order. Would you please stand for the invocation by City Manager John Schugert and remain standing for the flag salute, please.
Dear Father, we just pause to thank you for all that you do for our city and all that you do for each one of us. And it's with heavy hearts that we raise the Knapp family. Just keep them in your good graces and give them a special attention as they bereave the loss of their father. Give them a safe trip wherever they need to go, and their family members also. And help us all to support Jeff and his family in the coming days. Help us have a good meeting tonight, and let every decision be made according to your will and your mercy. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please face the flag. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. The first item on tonight's agenda is the consent docket, items 1A through C. Do any of those need to be pulled or addressed separately? If not, I will take a motion on the consent docket as a whole.
Motion to approve, please.
Do we have a second? Second. Moved and seconded. Please post your votes. Thank you. Item 2 is call to the public. If any member of the audience wishes to address the council, please step forward to the podium. First state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Hearing or seeing none, I'll move on to item 3, which is a public hearing item. That's consideration and possible approval of a request by CRB Companies, LLC and AT&T to install cellular antennas and associated equipment on the existing tower at 7270 Northwest 36th Street, and approval of lease with AT&T. John?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have a staff report, so take it away, Danielle.
Good evening. As was stated, this is a agreement to add equipment onto the water tower, the handrails of the water tower at 7270 Northwest 36th Street. At P&Z, it was recommended for approval if a engineer's report was turned in stating that the handrails could sufficiently handle the load. A report was turned in yesterday afternoon. It stated that the report itself stated that all equipment proposed in the report should be installed in accordance to the drawings for the determined available structural capacity. And then on the drawings themselves, it says that they do not reflect the actual configurations required. And also Steve Caton had a brief chance to look at them, the new set of plans that is. But if you have any questions, applicants here, and I can answer any questions as well.
I've got a question. I don't know whether it's germane or not, but excuse me. I have been noticing a heavy static noise on Rockwell between about 2800 block and about 2500 block. And do we have any idea what's causing that?
I do not. That's the first I've actually heard of it. I'm not sure what that might be.
It's OG&E.
Who has the towers in that area?
Paul just mentioned that it was OG&E is what the
static is from the electric lines. It's OG&E. I've heard it also, and that's exactly where it's coming from. Is OG&E. It has nothing to do with the telephone.
It's nothing with telephones in it.
No, it's OG&E's electrical lines.
Can we do anything about it?
They might be able to, but
can we do anything about it? Ask them to fix it.
I will try, but I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate that.
Any other questions of staff or the applicant? Thank you, Danielle. All right, I will take a motion on item, well, it is a public hearing item. Let me open the floor for any public comment or from the applicant. Okay, hearing or seeing none, do we have a motion on item 3?
So moved.
Okay, motion for approval by Councilmember Larson. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any questions or discussion? Please post your votes. Thank you. Item 4 is consideration and possible approval of an amended lease with the Bethany War Acres Public Works Authority for the firing range located at the Joint Sewer Treatment Facility property. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You all probably do know that the city of Bethany actually owns the real estate. It's located approximately 192nd Meridian. We bought that property back in the 60s and are now leasing it to the Bethany War Acres Public Works Authority for a wastewater treatment works. About 1983, the treatment works subleased back to the city a small portion to the city of War Acres and to Bethany for a small arms training range, and both of the cities currently operate that range for law enforcement training activities. We need to put a new building in, and we thought renewing the lease and modernizing the lease a little bit would be a great way to start the process. It's been lawyered to death, no offense, David, but Bethany's lawyer, War Acres lawyer, and the Bethany War Acres lawyer have all gone back and forth, so now we have a really good lease approved by 3 different lawyers. I would ask you to approve the lease so we can continue using the range. It's a good way to train our law enforcement officers as well as those from War Acres. Our guys need to be as well trained as the opposition forces.
Just to supplement that, to give you a little background on how this came about, it's the need for a new building. Apparently, the building there is dilapidated, and Bethany and War Acres are going to share the cost of the new building, and the estimates I've seen are in the neighborhood of $30,000 for the whole building. There were quotes from contractors to build the building that were $50,000 to $80,000, and the police department's going to do this utilizing the services of one of their people as part of his police duties, who has experience in construction to supervise the various subcontractors. All of the things that are going into this building will not exceed the city manager's purchasing authority, and this item was included in the police budget this year as well, Bethany's half of it. So that's just a little background on how the building's going to be built.
When you say that it was incorporated into our budget, at the time, we thought it would be only $30,000 or so.
Actually, I think we budgeted $25,000 as our half, thinking that it might be as much as 50.
It's going to be possibly as much as 80. Who's going to be the contracting agent and agent of record?
The city will be.
The city will
City of
be,
Bethany.
but we will be using a employee of the city of Bethany.
As sort of the coordinator of the
Coordinator.
project, of the various subcontractors.
So what we're doing is what do you
We call that force account.
force account? This will be a force account
Right.
job.
It's saving approximately $50,000 from the numbers we've seen.
It shouldn't exceed
And-
30 or thereabouts.
And there is no legal problems of us doing what we're doing.
No.
And somebody won't come back and when we're halfway through it and say, hey, you guys are exceeding your authority.
No.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr.
Do we have an engineer's drawing on these plans?
It's a prefab building, I believe.
It'll be a prefab building.
A metal
Sheet arm?
building.
Is it a sheet arm building?
Yes.
I guess we could build a building that large in the city of Oklahoma City without having to send it to the Board of Adjustment and planning and zoning and get something to go before the city council.
That's why we have a construction manager on staff to look at those issues.
Okay. It's in the county. We're really scot-free then, aren't we?
All right, do we have a,
We'll have the sheriff help us out
I'll
with
make
that
a
one.
motion to approve.
okay,
I'll second that motion.
okay. Any questions or discussion? Please post your votes. Thank you. Item 5 is the city attorney's report, David.
I don't have any items to report.
All right. Item 6 is city manager's report, John.
Thank you. We do have a report from John.
Good evening. Just briefly on presenting our December 2015 revenues for the general fund, they came in at $3,964,000, and that total is $116,000 or 2.8% under our budget. We've had some revenues come in since then, but we're reporting these numbers on a cash basis, so we're right on top of budget. Our expenditures were $4,737,000, and that amount is $476,000 favorable when compared to our budget. And our net transfers from other funds have increased our general fund by $164,000 to $2,933,000. Bethany Public Works Authority, as of December 31st, had revenues of $4,072,915. That amount is over our budget expectation by $93,243 or 2.34%. The operating expenses were $2,851,567, which was $452,284 under our budget. And finance-related activities total $3,000 year to date. The net operating transfers were a negative $253,968, leaving a fund balance at December 31 in the Bethany Public Works Authority of $22,279,000. The Capital Improvement Authority had revenues and transfers of $94,019. Expenditures for the month of December totaled $141,245. We still have $1,390,000 reserved to acquire fire equipment, and leaving us an unreserved fund balance at December 31st of $298,500. That concludes my report.
Any questions of JR? Thank you, sir. Do you have anything else, John?
We're roughly 50% through the city on our first pass on our tree limb pickup. Our crews are moving as fast as they can, keeping in mind safety. We want to protect our workers as well as the public. I would ask everyone to please stay away from our licensed dump site at the Eldon Lyon Park. It is a work zone. It's hazardous. It's loud. It's not safe. So we ask that you not go in there without an escort. It's just a dangerous place to be with that pit and the equipment moving around, and our workers are looking out after each other, and they don't need to be looking out for you. So please just stay away from there if you would. And I think at 50% through, our first claim into FEMA was about $130,000 or so. We're picking up the limbs and disposing of them in as most economical and safe a manner as possible to maximize any refund we will get from FEMA and minimize our out-of-pocket cost. It will take a little longer maybe to do it this way, but we'll end up with a much better return on our workers' labor. I did hear last week that FEMA has turned the project over to our Oklahoma emergency managers. So now we've got another layer of bureaucracy to deal with. But so far, the people they've sent to help us have been able to help us get through the permitting process, and I'd like to give them a thank you. But everyone owes Steve and his crew a thumbs up for the work that they've done, and just difficult work that they're doing, and I appreciate all the work that they're doing out there. So that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, John. Item 7 is council members' announcements, comments, and proposals. Councilmember Shirey, I'll start with you tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the employees of the city of Bethany who have been working on this project of clearing limbs out of the city. I know it's a difficult job. They have, as far as I'm concerned, they have marginal equipment to do it with, but they're doing an outstanding job of doing it. I think it doesn't appear that it will be done probably this month, and I'm sure we won't be done next month, because we're, about half finished?
We're about half.
And it also appears to me that we are burning out there. So we were released to burn,
Yes.
and is that on an ongoing basis? How are they keeping up with the cubic yards that we are burning?
The OEM people came out and measured the pile and gave us the go-ahead on the first pile that we're taking from. And then when we're ready, they'll come out and measure the second and third and fourth piles, however many piles there are. But DEQ has permitted our site as a burn site. So we're doing everything in accordance with federal and state and local regulations. And there's a book about that thick you have to get through. And
Could we burn the book?
no, we cannot. We can only burn the.
Can we declare it storm debris?
limbs that were destroyed as a matter of the storm. So no, there's no book burning there.
Yes, I think we ought to reiterate to people that, number one, this storm damage,
Trees, storm damage.
trees, storm
Yes.
damage.
Your metal outbuilding and your fence don't
Don't
count.
count, no. I
Well,
mean,
that's taken care of by your insurance company,
are not.
or
But it should be covered under your homeowner's.
Depends on the amount.
depending on what your deductions are
Yeah.
for your homeowner's
Correct.
policy.
I-
I think that they should really be made cognizant of that fact, because a lot of people are saying, I see stuff stacked everywhere. I saw a telephone post the other day, okay?
And we're not going to take it.
You're not gonna take it.
Nope.
So, I think that's good. And, I hope that the people that are working for the city of Bethany make the same progress during the month of February that they have made during the period of January.
So do I.
And I really am appreciative of what they have done for us.
I
That's
will
all
let them know.
Well, I got one other question here. I had something on a special thing here. I guess we had a change in the budget for the Bethany Public Works Authority, I guess that was. And we have Apple Bank CD, and then we have Bank of India New York CD. Is that CDs that we have out?
Ask the treasurer.
I would be more than glad to address that. These are not budgetary items. What has happened is the trustee at the Bank of Oklahoma erroneously sent us the money when a CD matured, rather than rolling it back over into the next CD for us like they always have. And so this morning I learned of this and scrambled around and got Susan and the banker to all agree that we would get these funds sent back to the bank and rolled back into a CD. My question was just exactly like yours. We're talking about the Bank of India or the Bank of
Apple Bank.
Apple
yes,
Bank.
Apple Bank. And now if we could buy some Apple stock, I'd go along with that.
Not buy it.
And these are all FDIC guaranteed U.S. investments. I know that the name that concerned me last week too, and I called them to talk about that. These are not the only investments we have, but I had that very same question last week. And basically what it is, given how much money we have to invest, how long and how liquid that investment needs to be, plus the limitations placed on us by the state as to the safety of those investments, pretty well limits us to a very narrow range. I cannot make you very much money on our investments, but there's no risk either to speak of. So,
But can you keep it can we make sure that we don't lose any, whether we make any right now or not? It's difficult to make a dime in the stock market or in the bond market,
Right now.
wherever you're at.
it truly is, but given what we had to look at, these were the two best alternatives on this date. And these things change every day, but these were the ones that we committed to based on what was available. If you
So
don't
in
jump,
is your considered judgment, these are pretty lead pipe cinched
Safe.
investments?
they're safe.
They're safe. Okay. That's-
They're guaranteed by the federal government.
Oh, they are FDIC.
They are indeed,
Okay,
okay?
okay,
And we're not gonna get into the business, I don't think, of ever wanting to invest in the riskier things. We don't wanna take a slam on the stock market right now. So,
yeah, you
prudence
do, you
says-
wanna get out of it as hard as you can get.
Well, we're out.
Burn rubber, let's get out of here.
We're
Yes.
out. But again, this entirely arose because of somebody ticked off on a computer program that said, send them a check instead of reinvesting. And I thought it had been reinvested. They sent us the money. So we verified it, scrambled around, and we're sending it back with
But
your
will
permission.
it be it's reinvested in a different CD
Yes,
than what it was before?
that's correct. The CDs that we had them invested in before, one was Community Bank, and the other one was Southwest Bank of Fort Worth. And those two had matured, and so we're rolling those funds back into others.
Okay.
Recently, we also received a check for $205,000 from Saffron National Bank, and it just so happens that that was on the hospital trust, which I needed the cash available to us on the hospital trust because we do have a rather large bill coming due on the hospital. So I placed that money over here at First Bethany in a short-term CD, so it will be available to us when we need it.
That leads me to another question. When are we going to turn title, tag, and problems of the Bethany Hospital back to the company that leased
Oh,
it
they're-
from us?
We already have.
They're operating in there.
Yeah, they've taken over everything, and we're just finalizing.
Are they paying a light bill and the gas
As far
bill?
as I know, yes.
Yes.
All we're doing is taking care of that construction project that we had committed to take care of, and they'll be opening real soon.
But everything we make on that rent is going to go back into the building as it's,
Yes.
what John is speaking of, if we got large bills to pay.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to take the money we get from that, the rent on that building and put it back into those funds there.
Actually,
That's one way to look
there was
at
a
it.
rent forgiveness
Yeah.
for the money they're spending. They're not paying any rent for, I don't remember the amount of time, but they've spent, I've heard numbers up to $4 million that they've
Right there
spent.
and now.
And the lease provides that they won't be paying any rent for a certain period of time. I don't have that number right in front of me.
They won't be paying rent, or they will not be sending us money for the rent. The rent will be coming off the $4 million
Right.
that they spent.
Right.
That's
Okay,
right.
it's kind of a switch.
That's right.
For services.
Actually, under accounting principles, their $4 million investment, I will have to be provided a listing of that, and we'll have to capitalize that. That'll be part of our books. It'll be part of the assets of the city of Bethany.
When did this form come about capitalizing something?
Oh, about 1960-something.
Something like that.
Well,
And especially-
I don't see that we have
Just the other day.
our disposal plant
or a water plant or anything like that, Captain.
It's on our books. It is
It's on our
indeed.
books.
Since
Yes.
GASB 34 was implemented in about 2005, John?
Yeah,
Right in there.
2004,
GASB 34 required us to include actually the streets and curbs.
And water lines, sewer lines, anything,
Right.
anything that the city has
And
is
basic,
capitalized.
and this is, I'm sorry, I'm delaying this.
Yeah,
But-
thunder's in 5 minutes, man.
I know, but basically,
No, I'm trying to find this out because it's
the
very
purpose
important.
of doing this is so that people that are going to loan us money, and we're about to ask people to loan us money, will know how much the city's infrastructure is worth.
That's true.
and
That's
that
what I'm
sort of thing.
speaking of.
So, that is the purpose in it, and that's why it will be booked.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate your
I've had it in
explanation
5 on this
very
time,
much.
and we'll see it again.
Councilmember Herron?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing at this time.
All right. Councilmember Larson?
Sorry. I'm sorry, I got tickled about that. You answered my question about the hospital and the limbs, but what's the latest on 7-Eleven?
I haven't heard from 7-Eleven in a while.
They haven't done anything with the dirt over there either.
No, but they're remediating the soil,
Okay,
so
okay.
you gotta get the groundwater squared away before they can do much.
I want to express my condolences to Mr. Knapp and the loss of his father, and our other 3 council members that are not here tonight. We miss you. And I think that's all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Lynch?
Fearing the wrath of John, I'll just keep it quiet. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Well, I too want to send my condolences to the Knapp family and be praying for Jeff and his family and their tough time here, so. All right, item 8 is new business. Is there any old or new business to come before the Bethany City Council? Hearing none, if there's no objection, we will adjourn until February 2nd, 2016. Hearing no objection, I'll declare us adjourned. I'll now open the Bethany Public Works Authority. We have the consent docket items 1A and B. We have a motion for approval on those items.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Please post your votes. Thank you. Item 2 is new business. Is there any new business to come before the Bethany Public Works Authority? Hearing none, if there's no objection, we will adjourn until February 2nd, 2016. And hearing no objection, we are adjourned. I'll now open the Bethany Hospital Trust. We have the consent docket items 1A and B. Do we have a motion for approval on those items? Moved and seconded. Please post your votes. Thank you.
I think there's a revised agenda. Isn't there a revised
You're
agenda?
right, there- you're right, there
You
was.
skipped one.
It's
I grabbed the
not on
wrong one.
agenda yet.
Okay.
I'm sitting here looking at it.
Might need to reconvene.
Okay, let me reconvene the Bethany Public Works Authority. We had a amendment on the agenda. It was item 2, which is a public hearing item, consideration and possible approval of a request by CRB Companies LLC and AT&T to install cellular antennas and associated equipment on an existing tower at 7270 Northwest 36th Street, and approval of the lease with AT&T. Do we have such a motion?
Motion.
Moved and seconded. Please post your votes. Thank you. All right, is there any new business to come before the Public Works Authority?
That's where that sound of gun came from.
Hearing none, if there's no objection, we will adjourn until February 2nd, 2016. All right, I'll reconvene the Bethany Hospital Trust. We have nothing other than the consent docket, which has been voted on. Is there any new business to come before the Hospital Trust? Hearing none, if there's no objection, we will adjourn until February 2nd, 2016. Hearing no objection, we are adjourned. I'll now open the Bethany Development Authority. We have the consent docket items 1A through C. Do we have a motion for approval on those items? Do we have a second?
Second.
Please post your votes. Thank you. Is there any new business to come before the Bethany Development Authority? Hearing none, if there's no objection, we will adjourn until February 2nd, 2016. Hearing no objection, we are adjourned, and that concludes tonight's business. Thank you.
I did have one other thing. The hospital bond issue election, not hospital, the library bond issue will be on your February 2nd agenda